Hey, welcome in. Thanks for joining us on Dom Time. Talking about the Philadelphia Public Schools, still the funding crisis is not over, the wrangling with the state and all the implications for the city. Joining us is Ron Whitehorn. Ron is a political activist, former Philadelphia Public School teacher, and Brian C. Greenberg, financial expert. Let's go to Kathy in Northeast Philly. Hey, Kathy, welcome in.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Good.
I have a question. I'd like to know, with our tax dollars, we educate the students by paying the teachers, the support staff from September to June. Why not charge the parents whose children have to go to summer school a summer school fee to help pay for those teachers so it doesn't come out of the budget for the whole school year?
Well, if you guys want to answer, they can't charge them because they won't pay. They'll refuse to do it, and they're not going to do anything about it.
Well,
First time, not to pay for summer school.
there is no summer school at this point, and because of the budget cutbacks, and secondly, I think it's a question of what public education means is that we have a public responsibility to educate all children to the best of our capacity. And so I guess I feel like if we're going to start charging people for a necessary service, then that's the privatization route.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Now, Ron, the budget, thanks, Kathy, very much. The budget is approximately $2.9 billion that we're talking about for the Philadelphia Public Schools. That, to me, as a former educator, and we'll talk to Brian about the finances of this, that certainly seems enough adequacy to have an educational system that's down to 160,000 students now.
Well, part of the problem, as far as I'm concerned, in Philadelphia is we have accelerated charter school growth.
What's wrong with that? Isn't that what people want?
Well,
don't people want their kids
competition.
to competition?
No, I don't think that's.
Why are they going there then?
Well, I think if you degrade the traditional public schools,
It's not about degrading. The reason why they're going to the reason why they're going to charter schools is because their kids can't get a good education in the public schools. So they're opting to go to these charter schools, paying money if need be out of their pocket, so that their kids can get an education.
Well,
and that's the demand.
I don't agree with that.
There's a big demand. Well, then you don't have kids in the public schools.
I
and
have
they're
my
going to
children
charter.
went to the public schools.
Have you talked to any of these parents who?
Yes, I have. We've been out all summer interviewing people about their views on these questions, and I think most charter school parents have the same concerns that traditional public school parents have. That a lot of parents, I think the real problems in the traditional public schools have led a lot of parents to abandon them in favor of charter schools, but they're not that happy either. Charter schools aren't doing better
There's
than
no
traditional
panacea for
public
everything.
schools.
Ultimately, it comes from the parent. Ultimately, a quality education comes from the parent.
Obviously,
the problem in a public school is
Ron, it would seem to be that the parents who are choosing to charter school are more involved. They're trying to flee what I think is the problem, those parents that don't care and their kids, as a former teacher, who act up in the public schools.
there's no one's accountable in the public schools. When the kids, I've had teachers who have been assaulted and the kids back in the school the next day.
Well, there are real problems in the public schools. Among them is the question of violence and so forth.
Not among. That is a primary concern.
Well,
and
it may even be the primary concern.
And that's why that's why the parents are pulling their kids out.
So it's a question of how you address that. You're not going to address that by removing the resources.
Well, it hasn't been addressed. And that's the point.
Philadelphia class size is the largest in the state, 33 kids to a class.
There aren't 30. Wait a minute. Now, Ron, you really believe on a day-to-day basis there are 33 kids in those classrooms? No, I don't believe it at all.
In the last couple of years, there were some reductions.
No, I mean, they're not there. They're not there on a daily basis. You're not actually getting 30 kids in a classroom with absenteeism and everything else.
In elementary school, you are.
And you think that's the issue versus violence and parents that
don't
care?
I don't think. I think that the issues in the school are many. We're talking about a student population that is predominantly poor, many students with special needs. We have the highest proportion of special education and English language learners in the state. Those children have needs. And we're talking about opening schools now with no counselors in the fall. Those are the questions.
Where does all the money go? $2.9 billion.
Well, most of
what percentage goes to compensation for teacher
A
compensation.
large chunk of it goes.
Well,
the
then,
biggest single chunk
well, then-
goes to.
All right,
to
but I
pay-
want to talk
to
about that,
pay
and
teachers.
I'll go to you, Brian. Philadelphia public school teachers, in my view, are not overpaid, with one exception here of something with their health insurance, that they don't pay anything into it, but they are not raking it in.
It's not about raking it in. Any business, if you're not making enough money to come in, you have two choices. You either cut your expenses or you go out of business. Philadelphia schools don't have the money to provide the services, that's been clearly stated here. So you have two choices. Either if they're not going to cut the services, and we talked about privatizing Philadelphia, then the people provide the services, the teachers, the administrators, all have to take a pay cut. It's not like it's wanted. It's not like it's about what's
Well,
worthy.
the third alternate Ron is suggesting is higher taxes on somebody in
On
some way,
who?
shape,
Where?
or form. Ron?
Where are you getting this money
As
from?
far as I'm concerned, your schools are not businesses. They're a public service.
It's
And if
income-
we want what our children need, we have to be prepared to invest the money. School teachers in Philadelphia earn on average 15% less than Bucks and Montgomery, the more affluent suburbs. They have bigger classes. They have more difficult working conditions.
I'm not saying you're asking about the value of the
short-sighted
service. I'm
to
not-
like the concessions that are being demanded from teachers are going to have a negative long-term impact on
Should
the
they pay
quality.
something into their health insurance, do you think?
I think it's probably inevitable that there's going to be some
Inevitable.
concessions.
I pay
made.
$17,000 a year
Well,
for,
you know,
for
but you
my
have to look
family.
at the total compensation package. Historically, teachers have had good benefits, but partly that's compensation.
Well, they're
for
45th
lower-
out of the
lower
62
salaries.
in the area, which is not great, but it's not, and it's about $110,000 in their compensation package because of the health care.
Right, right. I mean, I'm not here to. I think that we have something called collective bargaining, and the union's
Right.
going to do that. And I think what I would say is the demand for $133 million in concessions from the unions, when you're only asking 120 from the state and 60 for
Yeah,
the
but
city.
I would say, and Brian, I don't know if you have knowledge of this.
Since when do we fund
well, wait a minute,
public
you have all these
services by,
support staffs and all these unions, and you only have 160,000 kids now. It's top heavy.
Yeah.
There's too many administrators, too much support staff.
Well, I don't think that's true. I mean, if you partly what's going on is because of the movement to charter schools. You don't have the same efficiency of scale that you. I mean, if a school.
So you would drag
if
these
a
people
school-
back in, Ron?
You're
No,
telling me there's
no.
the same percentage of administrative weight today as there was 20, 30 years ago?
The central administration has been cut to practically nothing. In fact, there are some serious problems with that. The charter school office, which is supposed to oversee these
Right.
charters, has 4 people.
All right, I want to see if we have anybody out there viewing tonight that can call in, that maybe is a fan, sends their kids to a charter school. Are charter schools a large part of the problem? They've gone too far, as Ron says, cutting back from the everyday Philadelphia public schools. Straight ahead on Dom Time.